Man, the stock market is crazy today. We're going to be talking about all the news and everything you need to know about the stock market and some price targets, some supports and resistance to look at, and where the market is going potentially. With that being said, let's look at the overall heat map first. We got Apple down 3%. I think it was at 230. Now it's at like 228. I think it went down to 225. We got Nvidia down 2%. Nvidia also dropped a decent amount today. We also got some bad news with Tesla. We're going to be talking about Tesla a little bit more. We're down 5% right now. We got some decent stocks kind of holding strong, like Meta. Meta, of course, they're not really going to be affected with the tariffs, but we do got news with the tariffs that we're going to be talking about a little bit more. We got other stocks that are kind of down more. Earnings coming up, keep that in mind. But with that being said, let's talk about some news. We're going to kind of summarize it today. So basically, recently Trump has came out with some tariffs. Basically, I think Canada and Mexico 25% and a 10% tariff on Chinese imports. With that being said, it is raising concerns about basically a trade war and a trade conflict going on that could make the market uncertain. With that being said, we did get some decent news with Mexico, basically saying that they are going to add, I think, 10,000 troops to their border, which kind of put a pause on their tariffs. So the stock market did indeed go up. We're going to be looking at that a little bit later on the charts. Currently, right now, Donald Trump is in a meeting with Canada. They're going to be talking about theirs. Kind of, kind of a little bit. It honestly just depends on how that one goes to see where the market is going to move. So we're going to be looking a little volatile with that being said. But with that being said, we do got Tesla stock going down a lot. Basically, they're down 12% in the registrations. But Elon Musk actually came out with that they're going to be exporting their cars from the EU to China to kind of make it like non-tariff, basically make it cheaper to export. So we didn't really see anything increase with that, but that's some little news that I had in mind. And also, we had a surge in oil prices and the overall energy sector. One of my stocks went up. I was in like the U.S. energy. It was like 210 when I got it. Went up to like 320 or something. I sold it right now. I mean, it might have been too early, but I had a lot of money out of it. So, with that being said, we did get Bitcoin dropping a decent amount. So we seen Bitcoin down at that 95,000 level, almost 94 or 92. But we seen it drop down to that 94,000 level. But recently we did make a recover up to that 100,000 once again. Hopefully we can hold strong. With that being said, MSTR moved insane today. It was all the way down to that 308 level and traded all the way up to that 340 level. This would have been an insane play. Another insane play would be over the weekend. You seen SPY all the way down to that 590 level. Now we broke that 600 level earlier. That would have been an insane trade to the upwards and also to the downwards if you would have got it at 602, or even you got lucky and you got a put at the 609 and held it over the weekend. You would have made a decent amount of money. But with that being said, let's talk more about how the trading is working. So basically, we were down. We were kind of showing a bearish trend, but then the news with Mexico came out, and then we are looking green again. So basically, right now, we're kind of just waiting on the Canada news. If we can get some decent news from that, we can see the market go upwards even more. Or if we get some bad news, we might see it fill the gaps downwards. So just look at some decent levels like the 598 level, breaking below that to the 597, 595, 593, and then back down to that 590 level and maybe even break below it. But with the good news with Mexico, I don't think we're going to break down below too much. We're going to be looking at that 594 level indeed, and then we might either bounce off of it or keep breaking below. So keep that in mind. But to the upside, I'll look at that 600 level once again. We're kind of on it the whole day, kind of testing it, but not breaking past it. So with that being said, look at it breaking that 600 level to the 601, 602. I think we can hit 602 and maybe even go back up to the highs of like 607, 605, 610. But I don't think we can break past that unless we get some good news with China. But the China one isn't really certain yet. I mean, it's only 10%, but you know, a lot of tech stocks, they benefit a lot off of the China, and with the tariffs, it's just going to bring it down even more. With that being said, with Tesla, we're showing a constant bearish trend. We didn't fill any gaps upwards. We were bearish, and then we were kind of bullish, and then kind of bearish, and then with some bad news. We're kind of just maintaining right now, though. Maintain that 380 level. I do recommend if we do go to the downside to look at that 380 level is going to be key. 378, 377, 375, and then maybe that 370 level is going to be key to the downtrend. But to the upwards, we will be seeing it kind of fill the gaps upwards and maybe even fill this gap. Maybe if we get some good news with Tesla, but right now we don't. But with that being said, I will look at it upwards to 386, 388, 390 is going to be key, 395, and then that 400 level once again. If we break past that 400 level, we can still got a little bit of a gap to fill at that 402. But with that being said, I don't know. I don't know what's really going to happen with this stock. We did get some bad news with some numbers of EV sales. So we just got to keep that in mind. But with that EU getting transported to China, that might make it look a little bit better. With that being said, in the video, a lot of people are still optimistic about this stock. With that being said, the tariffs will mess it up and the export ban will mess it up. So if we get some good news on that, we might be able to do something decent. We did indeed kind of make a cup and handle kind of. So you might see it go down, go up if it fills. But if not, we do got some higher highs also. We might be bullish again, but just depends on how this Canada thing goes. With that being said, I do want to look at the downside. Want to look at that 116 level, 115, 114, and then that 113 level. And then after that 113 level, which is a key level, bounce below that, maybe 112, 110. With that being said, if we do go to the upside, which is not really looking right now, but if we bounce down a little bit more, maybe bounce off that 115 and then bounce up, we can probably see maybe 118, 119 and breaking that 120. I think 120 is going to be key because we might either test it and then bounce off or break past it. So keep that in mind for NVIDIA. That being said, one that has been kind of strong and one that I was kind of debating on getting in is Amazon. Amazon is looking pretty decent. We had a constant downward trend sold with the tariff news, but then we kind of filled those gaps at market open. With that being said, we did have a big sell off. And then with the good news of the Canada tariffs, we kind of went back up. With that being said, we've been kind of maintaining that 237. I think honestly, I want to look at that 240 level to see if we can break past that 240 and then maybe even make some new highs. So past that 240, I'll look at 241, 242, 245, and maybe break above even more. With that being said, to the downside, I will look at that 237 once again, testing, and then going down to that 236, and then indeed that 233 is going to be key. So keep 233 on your mind, and then if we break below that, we might even see 230. So keep that on your mind and on your radar. With that being said, like I said earlier with Apple, we did indeed have a big sell-off, and we've been kind of selling off the whole day. With that being said, I'm not really too certain with this stock. I think maybe wait until it gets down, test that 225. We break below that, you see it back down at that 220 level. I think 220 could be a good buy level, maybe even 221 to get back to the upside if you want to play along. But I think honestly, just having patience in this stock, we might even see it bounce down a little bit more, maybe to 227, 226, 225. And then you might see it bounce off of one of these levels coming back up. But keep Apple kind of be patient on Apple. But I think Apple can move a decent amount if you just be patient. SoundHound AI, we did indeed fill the gaps back up and it's been looking pretty healthy. So I recommend having your patience on this one. I think SoundHound, we might maybe even see it sell off just a little bit more and then bounce up, maybe get that $15 level. Another one that's been moving is Rigetti. So basically, Rigetti has been pretty strong too, filled the gaps up and then just been bullish ever since. We do have a little bit of a bounce off. So we bounced off that 1380 level. So just watch it, maybe retesting that 1380, maybe going back up and or going back down. This stock moves a lot, as you guys can see, moves up and down a lot, and you can make a lot of plays on this to the downside and to the upside. With that being said, I do want to see how it tests that 1380 level, that 14 level, 1420 level, and maybe even getting that 15 level with this one and maybe bouncing off again. But keep this stock in your mind. It moved a lot today. With that being said, with Bitcoin, we looked at it earlier. I think let's just see how that 100K reacts. We might break below it, and or if we get some good news with Canada, we might break above it even more to that 102 and maybe get in those 105 levels once again. With that being said, I look at MSTR. If we can see it hit 105 again, we might even see it at that 350 level, 360, maybe even 370. But before we were at that 150 level, we were kind of at that 350 level. So watch that 350 level. But with that being said, kind of how it's moving, it's at 350 here. So if we do get that 105, we might see like a temporary 360 to 370 with that. So keep that on your mind. Another one that's been kind of strong is Palantir. Palantir is a pretty strong stock and they got earnings coming up. So keep that in your mind. With that being said, we're above VWAP, but we're kind of a little bit looking bearish on the MACD. So keep that on your mind. We might be bouncing down a little bit more. We might bounce down. Maybe we might go to that, watch the 83 level, 82. And then if we bounce below that 82, we might see 81. But with that being said, we might get a bounce upwards. So to the upside, I'll look at 84, 85, and then maybe breaking some new highs. So keep that on your mind because if we can break some new highs, you might see it. We might even see the stock at that 90 level. You never know. Another one that's been kind of moving a decent amount, but not really. But AMD, we kind of seen it bounce off of that 113 level, and it kind of bounced off of it multiple times. And we're kind of making a little bit of a rebound, cup and handle a little bit. So with that being said, we might see it down a little bit and then start bouncing up, but just depending on how news and everything goes. So to the upside, I'll look at that 115, 116, 117, and we might even see 120 once again, but that's kind of rare. But with that being said, to the downside, I'll look at it testing that 114 level and then going back down to that 113 level. And if we break below 113, we might even see 112 and then that 110 level. So keep that on your mind for AMD. And then Google's another one that's kind of been coming back. We did hit 207, some new highs. With that being said, I do recommend just watching how Google moves. Be a little patient with this one. We might see it break to those 201 level or 202 level to that 201 level. Might even see 200. With that being said, you can probably play along at that 200 because we might see a bounce and then come back to that 204 level. With that being said, to the upside, I'll look at that 204 level once again, breaking above that. Might see 205, and we might see it hit that high of 207 once again. But another play to be very patient with. And yeah, but with that being said, thanks for watching the video. Let me know if you guys made any money today. Let me know if you guys were on the good side of that trade for that put option over the weekend, and even that call option that just happened recently. So right now the market's moving pretty fast, so be very careful. Just try and be on the right side of the trade. Don't try and trade up against the market. But with that being said, hope you guys are making a lot of money. Smash the like button, subscribe if you guys are new, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.